Good morning and welcome to Elisa Marie Designs. I am Elisa. I hope you're having a good start to your Sunday, your fun day. I am. I wasn't expecting to be here, but being that I have some like free time, I thought, well, let's get back to finishing up the Winter Fox. Let's get back to finishing up her face. Yeah, I'm happy to have this session with you today. I'm just going to work quietly, maybe a few things that I have on my mind that I saw and like since I talked to you yesterday. But yeah, let's get started. How about? Why is there a glare on her? There's no plastic on this. Well, whatever. So I hope that you got a chance to do your self-care Sunday. Please leave me any thoughts or comments that you had about the topic, which was kind of all over the place. I mean, it really wasn't. I think my mind was all over the place because of what we've been dealing with. Um, you know, with everything going on, it's Mercury's in retrograde, and what else is going on? We had earthquakes. For Philadelphia, it's not a normal thing to have an earthquake. um, what else was going on? Hello again. I had to stop the camera because I'm looking at the numbers and they're actually upside down. And I'm thinking, is this going to come out upside down? That's all I need. Like I said, Mercury's in retrograde. I'm putting putty. That's actually working out very well. Usually I put wax in my single placer, but I've been using putty. I don't know who I learned this from. I learned this on one of the channels that I was watching. And something else I wanted to tell you guys, when I did the unboxing for the Woman in Gold and for the Kiss, the toolkit that I got, I think I still have it here. I mentioned this, but I didn't notice it until after. But not only do you get a 10 and a 4, but they're skinny placers. You can see how wide that is. No, that's not an old one. I don't think I have any old ones left, but the old ones are really kind of wide. Like that's wide. That's a wide one. And you can see this is skinny. So I thought that was really nice, and I didn't notice it until after I was done. So, how are we with Self-Care Sunday? Any comments, or did anything resonate with you? I hope that if it did, you consider subscribing and, joining us weekly. Maybe just for Self-Care Sunday. Maybe you found me by accident. Maybe, it wasn't about the diamond painting and maybe the topic or the graphic or the thumbnail. There's so much that goes into making a video, really, honestly. It's like you got to have the right keywords, and you got to have the right SEO, and you got to have the right thumbnail. You got to make sure that your thumbnail flows into your video flows into your thumbnail. There's so much to think about, and I'm just such a fluid person. I go from one thing to the next, as you can tell by the opening of this video. Hopefully I didn't lose your attention. But, if anything resonated with you, please subscribe, meet us here on Sunday. It helps this channel so much. It helps me to do what I love. Helps me, this has been maybe a year. I signed up for YouTube, I think in 2011, and didn't do anything with it until my Yorkie passed away. And John was saying to me, Lisa, my Yorkie, I had him for almost 19 years. And, you tell yourself all the things like, oh, you gave him a good life, and you were a good fur mommy, but no one prepares you for the loss that you feel. You can comfort yourself that you had him for such a long time, and you can comfort yourself that he had a good life and he had a lot of fun. But it's that companionship that just, oh gosh, I thought that I was going to be able to console myself with the time that we had and the life that I gave him. My dog traveled with me everywhere. Everyone knew Mr. Honor. And, but I was just, I didn't realize how much of a routine our life was. I was just, doing my life, and my little buddy was always next to me. And I didn't realize, like, you know, I walked around this house talking to myself a lot. I was talking to my little baby and telling him stories, and, you know, because he was old, and I didn't mind for 1 minute carrying him on my hip all day long. I did it with my son, and I was going to do it with my Yorkie, and I just carried him around, and I, wanted him to always hear my voice, much like when my son was born. He was a preemie, and he was in an incubator, and I never left my son alone for not 1 second without hearing the sound of my voice. He came 16 weeks early, and I was in a coma for 9 days. I was in a coma. I had lost so much blood. I had 10 transfusions, I believe. And so when I was awake, I never left my son. And if I had to leave my son, like, we all have to sleep. I was recording on a little recorder my voice. I was reading Joshua stories, and I would put it in the incubator. And like, my son was born in 1986, so like, this wasn't an endless loop. You know what I mean? This was, this was something that I had to say to the nurses: please, you have to go in his room, and you have to make sure that this recorder is on, and he has to hear my voice. And I just kept the faith and believed. And I know that no one studied what I was doing for my son and if it was helping, but I believed that it did. My son was never, ever, ever without the sound of my voice. Never. And so I did that for Honor too. Like, I walked around with him, and I told him stories, and I told him about all the furry friends that he made along the way. And, he was still doing that little head cock, and looking at me like, I think I know that. I know that name. I know what you're saying. Either my eyes are going. I thought that was a piece of foofy hair on there. So I was really getting like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I was telling John, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'll be okay. I'm okay. But I really wasn't. I noticed that I really thought that I was just going through grief, and it was going to be something that I was going to feel all the feelings and write all the things down and do my journaling, but I was getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And John said to me, Lisa, maybe I need to talk to someone. And just even hearing my husband so concerned and telling me this stuff, and I just was like crying, just would cry. If you were nice to me, I cried. If you were mean to me, I cried. If I was happy, I cried. It was just, And my son came over and he said, oh, I ordered from this company. And it was Temu. And he said, I got some really cool stuff for like, what was he doing? He was doing like electronics, like phone things and stuff. I'm like, you're ordering from China for a phone case? Like, does that make any sense to you? Go to Five Below. But I said, let me look at this thing. I was interested. And I saw a diamond painting. And it was a pair of angel wings. I believe that was my first one. And I was like, what is this? This looks like, is it paint by, like, it's kind of like paint by numbers, and you're putting these little, they're calling them diamonds. You're putting these diamonds on this painting. And I was like, you know what? This might help occupy my mind, because I like repetitive things. Oh, I have a lot of stray drills in here. Where did you come from? And when it came, like, I couldn't believe how I was starting to come out and respond to, being with this time alone, being with my thoughts. But it was a positive thing. I wasn't getting lost in the depression any longer. My mind was occupied, but it knew where it was going. And that's the other thing that I love about diamond painting is, you don't have to think. You have this canvas. It's mapped out for you. You just have to sort your drills, and you really don't have to think. You just have to. I mean, it is a deliberate craft, but you don't have to say, well, I want to paint this and I want this to go. You could. I want this to go here and that to go there. And you know where you're going. You just pick up the drill and you place it on the canvas, and you're being productive and you're watching something beautiful unfold. And I started to really respond and come out of this funk that I was in. And that was my first video. And that's what that whole long story was about. That was my first video. Is that Australia? I actually talked about, what I was receiving, the benefits that I was receiving from diamond painting. That's where I was going with this. And, if any of you have a similar experience, I would love to hear about it if you want to share. And, being a yoga teacher and, my dad died in March of 2020, and he was, for us in my neighborhood, he was the last funeral that was being held publicly. And his funeral was March the 8th. And then the world just went crazy. It shut down. And so, going through all that, I think a lot of people found diamond painting during this time, being shut in and, trying not to, it's funny because sometimes I come across the old reels that people made, during their time being shut in. We love our families, but let's face it, you're shut in. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. I mean, I don't know what I would have done with I was a single mom. So, the weekends for me, working all week and then having things that I needed to do. When I had Saturday off, like do the laundry, do the food shopping, like it's nothing like today. You could have somebody pick up your laundry and do it. You can call Instacart. You can have your food delivered. Like I used to have to, when Josh was really little, I used to have to put him in he had a little oxygen tank, and I had to, hello, Foofy, he's tapping me. I had to, run to the store and be back in an hour with a little baby on oxygen. Oh, boy, I sometimes don't know. You don't know how you do it, but you do it, right? You just do it. And, enough here? Okay. I'm busy yakking. I was going to work quietly, wasn't I? Didn't I say that in the beginning? So I think a lot of people found diamond painting during the pandemic. I didn't. My dad had died, and I left my marriage. I got divorced. I got remarried. It was crazy, to say the least, but in a good way, I didn't plan any of it. I had plans, and God laughed at that too. It was like, hey, you're not going to sell your house and move to Florida. And I was ready. And I was really shocking myself at how ready I was to sell this house that I loved, but it was full of memories. Just, and I was left with all of them. Like he got to walk away and start his new life. And, I was stuck with all the memories of being in that house and it being empty and my son not being there. And oh, it was terrible. Why does that one look different than this one? Maybe it's just where it is on the chart. Okay, that T looked different than the other T. And so I was also teaching yoga. So that was another change that I had. Everything shut down and I couldn't get behind teaching yoga. I was such a hands-on teacher. I loved my students. They confided in me a lot of the charms and challenges that they had with their practice. And so I knew how to, if they were in my class, how to craft something into the class without the whole class knowing about it. And, I really enjoyed making my students feel like they were heard and validated, and I was there for them. And so I just couldn't get behind this. We're going to do yoga now on a video. Like, oh gosh, really? But, more and more of my life, I'm starting to get back to where I was at the end of 2023. I was just so full of energy and ideas and ambition and going for it. And then I got hit with COVID. It took 4 years to catch up to me. And, I kind of thought like I was invincible and unstoppable. And like, I just didn't think about this virus. I didn't have any fear, even though, I had friends that died and I don't know. There was just, I think because my life, I was doing other things with my life. I had left a marriage that I wasn't happy in, and I was planning a new start, and I was going to back to a place. I lived in Sarasota, and I was going to go back to that place that I loved, and I was doing it on my own, and I had not felt that sense of independence in a long time, like since I was young, because I used to travel a lot alone. I traveled once with girlfriends, okay? And, I don't know how anybody does it. I didn't go to college. I didn't share a dorm room. I just went, I think I went to Wildwood once with two very close friends. And by the end of it, nobody was talking to each other. It was a horrific experience for me. And I just thought, you know what? If I want to go anywhere and do anything, I'm going to do it on my own. And that's what I used to do. I had a great job that I loved in real estate development. And I would get on a plane Friday night and I would be somewhere else on Saturday morning, Florida a lot of the time, and, get up, get into my hotel room, feel like so adult, so grown up, that I was, doing this on my own. And, I didn't have to answer to anybody. We didn't have to have this big discussion about every little thing. Come on, girls, and I just, got up when I wanted to get up, and I had breakfast in bed, and I packed my little bag, and I went to the beach, and I spent all day Saturday on the beach. And then Sunday I would, walk around wherever it was that I was and do a little shopping, take a late flight back. Sometimes I would even come back on the same day. Really a gypsy. Because being in real estate development, you're working with architects and engineers and contractors, and a lot of them are on the job all hours. So, being that I was on the job site, it wasn't unusual for me to like just go right to work and somebody would be there, If it was 4 a.m., somebody was there. Somebody was, looking over blueprints or something. So I love that about my life. And I was starting to feel like that again, like I was going to be able to move at my own pace, and my son's grown and he's doing his thing and he's okay. And, as for my ex-husband, he always did his own thing. He was very work oriented, and that's all that he ever really wanted to do was work. And it's not a bad thing. And some women love that. I know my one girlfriend was like, oh, love your husband. Oh, I wish my husband was like that. That's why I married my husband. He was like that. And she was a go-getter. She was also self-employed. Most of my girlfriends are. She was like, I don't know what happened to him. I'm like, well, you had a family, and his everything changed, and he, you're doing your thing, and he's, at home with the kids. Like, you don't really see that much either. So, and you always think the grass is greener on the other side, but I was slowing down in my life, and I wanted him to slow down with me, and he never did. So I did everything still on my own. I didn't travel on my own though. I had this like anxiety all the time, about what was happening. I missed all this. um, I guess because we ran businesses together, you don't really have a clear head that you can, just go and jump on a plane. And I was very much hands on, and very available and always there. And, um, but there was more to life than work. And I don't think that he was ever getting that, even though he had some tragedies in his life and in his family. And I just never saw him ever, that he was ever going to slow down and he was ever going to enjoy what we were working so hard for. And, my dad died, and I don't know, I guess I hear people say all the time, things change when your parents die. And my dad said to me right before he died, we were just, he wasn't in the hospital or anything. I kind of knew that he was slowing up and it was getting worse, but he said to me once, Elisa, why are you so sad all the time? And I said, Dad, because I am. And I'm not going to walk around with a smile on my face if I'm sad. I am sad. And he's like, don't waste your life being sad. I'm looking at this man that, I think that my dad, did he have a good life? Yeah, I think he did. But I think there was a lot that he wanted to do that, he didn't get a chance to do. He had a lot of fears and a lot of anxiety that stopped him from doing stuff. And I didn't want to be that. I'm like, I'm gonna die one day. I'm not gonna win this one. I'm gonna die, and I don't want to die feeling this way. That like, oh my gosh, it's here, it's over. I'm gonna be taking my last breath, and I didn't do this, and I didn't do that, and so, I made the choice, and I sat down with my ex-husband. We talked about it. And he was just like, I'm going to leave you the house. I don't really think he thought I was serious, honestly. I mean, we were both crying and we both had been separated numerous times, but I don't think that he was really like, she's not going anywhere. Where's she going to go? But I did. And, my life was just, at that time, it was just, I had friends around me and I was always doing things with like my ex-husband was invited everywhere to everything that I was doing. And he was like, oh no, you go with your friends. Oh no, you go with your friends. It's just like, this is my reunion, don't want to come? Oh no, go ahead, go have a good time. And my aunt used to say to me, you're like your grandmother. She was a widow too. My grandmother really was a widow. She was a young widow. My grandfather died at 29. And we'll talk about that another time. I don't want to go down that road. But she remarried, but she was still a widow. Her second husband did nothing with her. Nothing. They owned a business. I come from a long line of entrepreneurial women that are just doing, strong women that are self-employed and successful at their professions. And my grandmother ran a business with him. And, when my grandmother had 2 daughters with her first husband. And my aunt was just born when my grandfather died. And my mother was 7, I believe. And now when my grandmother remarried, that's not an S, that's a 5. When my grandmother remarried, she had my uncle. My mother was 17 when my uncle was born. My mother was 21 when she had me. So, picture that dynamic. Get these in. I'm trying to concentrate because I'm dyslexic and the S's are looking like 5s. So, no, that's an S. Okay, that's an S. Um, Boy, I'm a chatty one this morning. I did have a large coffee. Look how pretty her cheeks are, so pink. Is there any 5K? Okay. Yep. And are these the only S's in here? Oh, so these are all extra. So let's talk about something else. I am going to start tomorrow from the unboxings that I did. Gustav Klimt, the Kiss. I am going to do a masterclass, and like a true masterclass. I wish when Diamond Dots had named their kits masterclass that they went a step further and really made it a masterclass where you learned a little bit about the artist and the painting, like just have a pull sheet in there. I got so swept away when I was doing Diamond Dots. What did I pull here? Okay. See, I'm going for the 5. When I did Van Gogh's irises, I was so swept away by that painting that I wanted to know everything about it. I taught art. I taught paper art and rubber stamp art in New York City at the Inkpad, New York City's only rubber stamp store. And I taught classes, and I would love to do a class, do a series. And I was actually thinking about this morning, and I'm going to tell you where I'm going with all this because I have a lot of thoughts that are just racing through my head right now. So I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to start the Kiss, and I'm going to, just do like background on Gustav Klimt, about the painting, about the inspiration, about where he painted it, where he's from, where he was born, all that stuff. And so if that interests you, I would love for you to join me. It's such a beautiful painting. But here's the thing. Now, I was watching my video this morning. And me and John we had YouTube on, and he was, doing his thing with his guitar. And I said, John, can you put my video on? I want to see what it looks like, how it's coming across on television. And so I was looking at the Kiss, and while it's so cute, those flowers, they decided to go with there's I think there's a red crystal diamond, and then there's a series of flowers that they chose to do the rendition of this. But as I was looking at it on camera, I'm like, they really should have had some gemstones in his coat. And I remembered, here's another Men Who Diamond Paint. I remembered Anthony from Single and Placing doing The Woman with a Fan, or Lady with a Fan. And I remember when he did this, and I was blown away because he has such an eye for where to put these sparkly diamonds at. So he had a nice stash, and he got his stash from DP with Sparklers. And so I went back to that video today. I'm going to link it for you down below. I went back to that video today, and I watched him again. And if I'm going to link it below, and I'm going to tell you that if you start at 14 minutes in, it's such a beautiful painting to begin with. But he knew where he wanted to, because that particular canvas, Lady with a Fan, Woman with a Fan, there's kind of these patterns around the canvas, around the perimeter of the lady. There's a peacock in one section, and then there's swirls in another, and it's all these little elements are around woman with a fan, lady with a fan. So he picked a blue, and he said, everywhere that this blue is, I'm going to switch it out for my mermaid sparkler. And it was, the colors were identical, right? So if it was this blue, he got his mermaid sparkler blue, and it was identical. And he switched out that number, that symbol, for the sparkler. And so it was in her coat, it was in her fan, it was in the peacock, it was in different elements that were around her. So it worked out really well. And then he had like like a minty green, like a sea moss green, and he chose to every symbol with that color. He decided to put a sparkler in, and it is so gorgeous. And he said to me, he said when I had complimented him on his page, oh, this must have been last year. But he didn't say to me. He said in the video, whatever stands out to you, jumps out at you, that's where you want to put your sparkler. He had such nice tips for that painting and for that particular enhancement that you might want to dive into. So I'm going to link that. And I was like, I'm going to still do it tomorrow. I'm still going to start it tomorrow, but I am going to get on today with DP Sparklers, and I'm going to pull that back out, and I'm going to look at the drills that I have and see which ones I can replace to make this a little bit more in the Klimt style. I mean, in this particular painting, there's gold leafing. It's just, and I would love to see the coat a little bit more enhanced than it is. So I'm going to be switching my drills out. And the other thing that I want to tell you guys, just in time for this painting, Anthony had on his site information on Summer with the Masters 2024. It's already here. I put this away and there's more I missed. So, and the rules have changed. A few of the rules have changed. So what's exciting about participating in these events like Summer with the Masters is a lot of the people that we buy from already have giveaways, and you can participate in that. And this time around, they're not going to need your address or any of that information because they've decided to do everything electronically. So everything, all the giveaways will be gift cards. So that's really sweet. That's nice. What else did he say? Oh, it does. If you started Summer with the Masters last year and you didn't finish and maybe you put that away, doesn't have to be a new start. So I think that Anthony said this is going to run from June 1st to July 31st, and you don't have to finish either. So how about that? And what I liked was that Anthony had, what did he have? He had Mukas out. I don't know if he's going to do a Muka, but I have a Muka, and I've been saving that, and but still, like, if I finish the kiss, where's my thing? If I finish the kiss, I can go right into Portrait of Adele, because I have that too. That could be one of the Summer with the Masters that I do. Also, he said that the Masters is a series of paintings produced before the copyright year has changed now this year. The copyright year this year is 1928. So any portrait of art that you like, as long as it was produced before 1928, you can join in the fun. And what else did he say? So anything in the public domain, if you want to go and find something on public domain that was produced before 1928, I love that public domain site for looking at artwork. You can have it made up, and you could do something like that if you like. You can have a custom kit made. There's so much beautiful artwork out there. But I really am so excited to do a master class on Gustav Klimt, on the Kiss. And I know that I'm going to do Summer with the Masters, and I know that I'm going to participate because it was so much fun. And I like that they're doing gift cards this year, not just because you don't have to wait for things to be shipped out. I can't even imagine how they were handling all that. It's one thing to be hosting Summer with the Masters. It's another thing now. You're doing giveaways and you're doing videos, and you're sending things out and doing uploads, along with what you're already doing. So I think it's nice that, and you, with the gift card, not only is it nice that they don't have to, they can send it out electronically. 1, 2, 3, boom, you have it. You can pick what you want. You could pick out something that you want, that you need for your diamond painting. So I love that. I just love that. I would love to do something like that, but I wouldn't be able to have a giveaway. I mean, I don't have that many subscribers. I don't know how many distributors would say, "Hey, yes, yeah, we'll submit like a diamond painting for your little get together on your channel." Which is why I want to grow this channel. I would love to be able to give things away to you guys, and you know, have a little event. You know, I'm putting it out there. You know, the universe is always listening. Not only has eyes, it has ears too. So, if you would like for me to do something like that, if you haven't subscribed, I'm going to give you a couple seconds to think about it. Did you do it? Did you hit the subscribe button? Do you need a couple more seconds? I've picked up so many different diamond pens. This is from Enabler's Outpost. It's a little cutie. I love it. It's so, you know, I do that. I think it comes from painting. You know, I would, when I am and when I was a beginner diamond painter, and sometimes I still do it. I don't do it on camera that much. I paint like this. This is how I diamond paint. Like this. Because I'm so used to having brushes in my hand. And I'm so used to like, oh, I need a round brush. I need a pointed brush. I need a flat brush. I need a baby brush. I need a heavier, you know, pen. I need a skinny pen. You know, I love my skinny pens. I love the pens that come in your kit. You know, especially, you know, I love my heavier pens. This is not really heavy. It looks substantial, but it's not really heavy. And it matches so many of my diamond paintings. I really haven't bought additional pens. I bought a black one, but the placer broke off. And so I have to get John on that to get the drill and make a hole and drill into it and then pull it out. Because I missed that pen. That's my big, it's a big black pen. And that goes with everything. So I try not to so much match my pens to my paintings, but to get pens that are able to work with a lot of diamond paintings. And, you know, I, as a teacher at one point and a crafter, can get really, it's a whole other hobby when you collect art supplies. You know that, right? I can really get, I am amazed at the pens that I watch on other channels, and people are like, oh, here's my diamond painting collection of pens. I'm like, oh my God. And plus, I'm not good with any more than 2 decisions, which is probably why I have a black pen and this really nice purpley gold pen. You know, it's, for me, it's like chocolate or vanilla. You throw strawberry in there and I'm confused. I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, there was one diamond painter, oh, her name is evading me. When I think of it, I'll put it down below. And I really am so in awe of how she kits up. She picks everything out. She gets her diamond painting, and then she gets her washi, and then you know, that's all curated, and it's just like a painting, you know. And then she picks her pen, and she has cases and cases and cases of pens, and then she picks her cover minder, and I'm like, oh my, this is really intense, but I'm loving it. I'm just like, I'm so intrigued. I wish I could do something like that, but I don't have them. I don't. I'm too impatient. I want to get started. But she does a lovely job. I think it's Diamond Painting with Laura. Yeah, and she's a fast diamond painter too. Boy, wow. Talk about diamond painting quickly. And she does big sections. Where was I? I was here. This is sticking up. and I'm getting a little goobad with that one, so I'm going to switch off. Yeah, so she diamond paints quickly, and she does like where we it's probably when you section off your diamond painting, you probably section off like most of us do in 10 by 10 centimeter squares. And I think she does like a 20 by 20 because she diamond paints so fast. So fast. I don't know if she's a confetti girl. She might be. I really haven't looked really into the diamond paintings that she's doing. I'm more there for how she curates a diamond painting to begin. I'm really there for the kitting up. But I think she might do portraits that are more with a lot of color blocking. And that might be why she diamond paints quickly. I haven't really looked at the Kiss from Gustav. I haven't really noticed if it was like a lot of color blocking because his work is so patterned in the background. It might not be. It might be a lot of confetti. You know what's coming through my head? When I would teach yoga in the beginning of my career, I would be like, like talking. And is that an R? Gosh, I need glasses. I have them, but they blind me. It's like I can't see with them and I can't see without them. Is that? Okay, let's just keep going. I was always talking when I was teaching yoga. Because, when you're teaching a 90-minute class, it's like you don't want your class to feel like you're not there. You want them to know that you're there. But I learned that you have to take those moments where you pause and you just have some quiet time, quiet space. And I'm trying to do that with my diamond painting, but I'm like, well, then it kind of sounds like you forgot what you were saying. But I'm gonna have to just trust that you guys need a little quiet too. Because maybe you're working along with me. I know that when I am listening to another diamond painter whip and chat, there's not a lot of quiet time from them either. They're filling up that space with things to talk about. The session that I did before this, I was quiet. I was so involved in the music that I was listening to that, and I was just in a headspace. I was, absorbing everything that I was thinking about with Self-Care Sunday and the topic, how it went from having my head in the clouds about gravity and solar eclipses and Mercury retrograde, and then it went into, just feeling lost in my writing and journaling. And, I have this confidence that when I open up a book, I'm going to find what I'm looking for. And this was like the first time I opened up Book of Awakening that I couldn't find what it was that I was feeling in my own body and thinking about. And so I went and got another book, a few other books, and not only found what I was looking for when I opened up the page, but found the same thing that I was already talking about when I was talking to you guys. And that kind of unfolds during, a few times in the, I call it like a podcast. because what you're watching when the video opens is just me and my process of how I cultivate a self-care Sunday, like what I do. And I'm talking over it, and you could see it unfold where, God, I was just talking about this. I had just said this, and now I'm reading it in the book. And I just love when you have those moments. Oh, gosh. They're serendipitous for sure. I'm having fun just doing this single placing. It's that popping sound, that can be very meditative, very hypnotic. It's almost like a mantra because it's so repetitive. Let's do some placing. I'm so glad that Putty and I have become friends. Oh, so glad. Because I always felt like I was being left out of this secret of how Putty works because I couldn't get it to work for me. And then I was watching The Diamond Daughter, and she was saying to just, go easy when you pick up your drill. Pick it up easy, place it down easy, and you'll be okay. And I thought, okay, let me take these back out again. Let me give them another try. And we've been friends ever since. Wow. I really thought, I don't know why I thought, because I've been working on this portrait for a while. I really thought I was going to sit down one session and have this done. one diamond painting session with you guys and have this done, this face, because I saved this time in my diamond painting with you guys to get this done. I think it's a really juicy part. But I have another session that's going to come up where I just put in all the ABs, and they're this pretty peachy color right here. I don't think that there's, I think that might be it, right? Yeah. So I'll be putting all those in. Look at how her face is starting to take shape. I said it so many times. I feel like, to me, she resembles the Botticelli. And probably why I love this painting, because I have a friend of mine, a very famous painter, Perry Milo, he's a pop artist here in Philly. So if you're from Philly, you know who Perry is. Perry used to paint a lot in Rittenhouse Square in the park. And that's how we met. It was funny how we met. I was actually walking through the park because my restaurant was there. And I was going home, and I would walk through the park and then catch the bus. And I see this painter painting. And of course, I'm walking right towards him. And I'm like, what is he doing? Because the canvas was upside down. And I was standing there holding a pizza. I was bringing a pizza home. That was my restaurant. I had a pizzeria, Lombardi's Coal Oven Pizzeria. And I'm standing behind him, and I'm like, what the hell is he doing? The canvas is upside down. And he was painting a statue that was in the park. And I'm mesmerized watching him paint. And he starts to walk backwards to take a look at his work. And now he's shoulder to shoulder with me. And I'm just like, I'm being quiet. And he says, what do you think? I'm like, you're painting upside down. He's like, I'm trying to get another perspective. I'm like, okay. And he says, oh, Lombardi's Pizza. I said, yeah. And he said, is that the same as the world famous Lombardi's Pizza in New York? Do you know that restaurant? Now that's my ex-husband's family. And I said, yeah, I think I heard of it. He's like, oh, their pizza's so good. I said, yeah, this pizza's good too. And he got back to painting. And I took the pizza and I put it down and I went on my way. And the next day, I was in my restaurant. I left the pizza for him. The next day, I was in my restaurant and I was having a meeting with two other restaurateurs. If you're from Philly, you know who they are. Audrey Claire and Neil Stein. Now, Neil always had a vision for every restaurant that he opened. And he was so creative, and it was always so wonderful to sit down with Neil. And here comes the painter. And he looks at me, and I look at him, and he's like, "Hey, you're the pizza girl." I'm like, "Yeah, you're the painter. How are you?" And Neil looks at me and goes, "I see you met my very gorgeous Italian son." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Oh my God. Are you Lombardi's?" And I was like, "Yep, you're here. You've arrived." And that's how we became friends. And then he eventually became my neighbor. He moved into the building next door to me. And every time I needed to escape my world, I would go in and see Perry and see what he was doing, what he was working on. Fun times in Rittenhouse Square. So he did a Botticelli. And when I was leaving Philadelphia to move to New York, I wanted Perry to come in and paint the mural on my wall. And he was like, "I'm there. I'll do it. I love what you're doing. I'm going to do it." But our lives took a little turn, and his life was taking a turn, and he couldn't get out to New York, and my life was how to get this cafe open, and he wasn't going to be able to do the mural for me. And I was at his new gallery because we were at that time we were bouncing. There was a lot of development going on in Philadelphia, and we were bouncing from one studio to the next. I have some black mixed in here. And he had this Botticelli, and it was in this beautiful frame. Again, a lot of redevelopment going on. And there was a sports club in Rittenhouse Square. And the frame came from the sports club. And the sports club was, it was an historical building. And Perry was able to get this frame and frame a print of the Botticelli that he did, because I wanted the oil, but somebody came in and bought it. And I was happy to take one of his prints. And that is what I have. That's what hung in my store. And it now is in my bedroom waiting to be hung. We can't seem to get to it. I don't trust John with a hammer. I have to get a handyman in to hang it because it is heavy. And that's the other reason. It will wind up crashing to the floor. Oh, I have museum putty everywhere in this house because my husband and I are both clumsy. And we have to have things like nailed down, puttied down. Like you would think that we did live on the West Coast with earthquakes. I was ready to say tornadoes. Getting my places. I lived in Florida for a stint, so I'm getting my locations mixed up. Oh, what's going on here? I'm trying. The brown. This brown and black couldn't be any closer in color. And let's turn that off. If you can take the time to straighten out your drills, because they will cure eventually, do it now. Wow, this brown is so brown. It's like a brown black. And of course, I managed to mix black drills in with brown drills, of course. And now I'm going, do I have any? Oh yeah, I have some black. I'm going to just put them in while I have them here. That's black. So if you can straighten your drills while you go, I love doing that. I love putting the pen down and giving myself something else to do. I get bored very easily, if you haven't noticed. Let me pull these black ones out. Why not? See how close they are in color? Oh my God, I could barely pick anything up. I managed to do this at least 2 or 3 times with different drills. So I have at least 3 containers of drills that have 2 colors in there. And usually what I do is I place them on a flat surface and I take my aligner and I kind of sort them out going, you know, brown, black, brown, black. That's fun. So if you like doing repetitive stuff and or you have anxiety and that helps you, because it always helped me when I was anxious and working in the restaurant, I always counted change. Not just counted it, I would like sort it out. Quarters, nickels, dime, penny, quarter, nickel, dime, penny. Because that would help my brain, you know, settle down with whatever, you know, anxiety I was having. Hope you didn't come off. Oh, this was such a pleasant, you know, I love spending time with my husband. But I can't do anything, and I feel bad because he gets 1 day off, and that's a brown. He gets 1 day off, and like, I can't do anything. And so I feel bad. And so he's like, would you mind if I went and got a massage? And I was like, no, go. Because he's been, you know, he's parcel post, so he delivers a lot of heavy packages. And he's getting ready to retire, and his mind is on retirement. Every day he tells me how many days he has left, how many weeks, and how many paychecks. I'm like, John, we're okay. Stop worrying. But he's a planner and he's a thinker, and he's so smart. When I was, he's like, what are you doing over there? What are you writing? You know, what are you writing like off your phone? Because usually he doesn't see me do that. He sees me read, and then he sees me think, and then he sees me writing. And I was like, what megahertz can the human ear pick up sound? And he's like, oh, that's between 20, and I already forgot what he said, 20 megahertz to, see, it doesn't retain in my brain. And I looked at the chart and I was like, you know, you're right. And he's like, oh yeah. And he's like, well, here, let me give you an example. And he went over to the piano and he hit the A. Is it a note or a key? Oh my God, I'm so bad. And he's like, that's 440. Did he say hertz? Yeah. Doug, he's brilliant. And I'm like, you know, he explained it all to me and I already forgot because I had to write it down. And, you know, but, you know, he's just, you know, he's got so much information in that head of his. But and the reason why I was telling you this is because that was also in Self-Care Sunday where I got curious about if the earth, we know that the universe makes a sound, right? You know, it's believed that the mantra, the sacred mantra of Om is the sacred sound of the universe, or the sound that God, of God, of it's a lot of in the Hindu scriptures, in the Upanishads, they say that the sound of Om is God in the form of sound. So I got really curious. Does the earth make any sound? And of course it does. And it's measured by the same equipment that we measure earthquakes. So all this was like just tying into my talk that I was having about the earth and about what has been going on with earthquakes and the solar eclipse. And so John was listening to, I just saw where this was going here. John was listening to my Self Care Sunday, and I was like, the solar eclipse was like huge for a lot of people because, like myself, the last one was 50 years ago. I don't know when there's going to be another one or if there is going to be another one. And will I be here? And I was like, just to be part of that event, all that energy, you have a large number of people that are all focused on one thing. They're all in the same vibration of this solar eclipse, this big event that's happening, and you can't help but be affected because everything vibrates and everything turns, and we have an earthquake that's kind of like throwing us off a little bit, and we have the planets that are circling around one another, and the moon circling around the earth, passing in front of the moon coming in front of the sun. So yeah, it was a topic that I went down this rabbit hole, and it kind of like really, that's kind of what I said even at the end of my filming, was like, wow, like what a journey this has been on this topic. So I hope you check it out, and if you do, leave me a little comment, leave me a little moon or an earth or a sun or any planet that you want. Stop in, say hello, subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow for my masterclass on Gustav Klimt, and the portrait will be The Kiss. And enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will see you in the next one. Create the world that you want to live in. Bye. Here we are, guys. I continued on with my diamond painting, but I'm going to leave completing her eyes to do with all of you, and also all the ABs that have to still be put in her hair. But I wanted you to get a look, and oh gosh, I'm so excited. Look at her little freckles, how cute. I'm so excited. So one more meetup on this beauty, and then she will be done.